Herbert here. Just wanted to let you know that my website has gone live. $5 English Club. If you go to $5 English Club, you can sign up for a free webinar. We have free webinars every week. So go to $5englishclub.com and sign up for the free webinar. Today I've got a very interesting topic for you. It's probably the most frequently asked question, FAQ. Tell me about yourself. Now, some of you think, tell me about yourself is a question usually you get at a job interview, but it also happens in other occasions. Strange thing is, most of us aren't prepared. It's the most asked question, the most frequently asked question after, how are you? We use it in job interviews, in social occasions. So when you go to a cocktail hour, you're meeting someone for the first time, the question they ask you is, tell me about yourself. They don't always say it that way, but that's the question, right? So that's something that's very, very useful. And we use it, of course, in the job interview. So I have a question. This is the strangest thing about people. This is really strange. They always think, people when you ask them the question, they always think about it. And I'm like, think about it? Well, I was born in, and like, you don't know where you were born? I went to school at, you don't know where you went to school? But they think about it. Every time they're asked the question, they think about it. As if it makes them look better. It makes you look silly. It makes you look stupid. It doesn't make you look fluent. And so, I don't know why. People like to think up an answer. Maybe they like to think, well, I should give this guy a new answer because this is a different person. No, you don't have to do that. This is the same answer, different person. So my recommendation, here's the better way. Write it out. Yep, write it out. And better still, speak it out. So what do I mean by that? When you speak it out, it's different than when you read it out. We'll show you that in a minute, how to do that. So basically, you answer these basic questions. How old are you? Where were you born? Where did you grow up? What did you study? What's your line of work? What do you do for work? How long have you done that for? And what do you do in your spare time? What do you do in your free time? These are all basic questions that you get asked or that you should be answering when you answer the question, tell me about yourself. So the next step is to make up a 2 to 3 minute version and then make up a 3 to 4 minute version. And that's very easy. And you want different versions for different occasions. So for example, at a cocktail hour, you probably got more time. You can use a 3 to 4 minute version. Job interview, you can use a 3 to 4 minute version. In an elevator, by the way, this is sometimes called the elevator pitch, you can use a 2 to 3 minute version because you're only going down maybe what? 30 floors in the elevator, so you only got like 1 minute, so you give them the 2 minute version. Later you can make up a 5 to 6 minute version, and this is really good for the job interview. Now, next thing you want to do after you've written it out, or as I suggest, actually put it on your phone and make a recording. That's even better. That sounds more natural. The next thing to do is to read it out loud. Just read it out loud. And again, in this case, read it out word for word. And record yourself. Analyze what you've said as a listener would, not as you have said it. Because when you read it to yourself, of course you understand everything that you said. That's normal. But I want you to listen to it as if you were the person listening. Is it clear? Are the words easy to digest? Okay? You're not trying to impress your English teacher with long words. You're trying to use simple words so you can communicate clearly to your listener. Now, is it clear and easy to understand? If you've used some long words that maybe other people may not understand, and you know, native speakers, even when you use a shorter word, they prefer it when they listen to a longer word where they have to think. And then you can make some necessary changes and corrections. So shorten sentences so they're not so formal. If you've recorded it, it will be much easier to do this. After you've made the changes, read it out loud again, but this time, little change. Use a speaker's voice, not the reader's voice. And what do I mean by that? Many times I hear people read a joke from Reader's Digest. The boy went down the hill. He saw a little girl. That's reading. That's a reading voice. A telling voice is Jack went down the hill. He saw a girl there. That's speaking, right? That's not reading. Reading and speaking voice are completely different. You learn to develop a speaking voice, not a reading voice. Problem is you've had so many years at school, you've developed reading voice, and that's the only voice you have. You need to develop speaker's voice. Speak like you're talking to someone, not reciting for your English teacher. The boy went down the hill. He was very happy to go down the hill. That's reading. Speak. Learn to be like an actor. An actor is only pretending he's speaking. He's actually memorized the script. He's actually reading from his brain, but it sounds like he's speaking. That's what you need to do. Now memorize it. And you go, memorize it? This is the strange part. You know, people memorize lists of words. They try to memorize dialogues. They try to memorize phrases to use in conversation. And when I tell people, this is something you should really memorize because you're going to be using it for the rest of your life. And there's lots of good reasons for that. Your life isn't going to be changing that much. Your birth date will be the same. Where you were born and raised won't change. And where you studied won't change. Here's the other reason you want to memorize it. If you go to a job interview, the first question they ask you is, tell me about yourself. If you speak for, say, 3 to 4 minutes, and you've got it memorized in here, the interviewer, his first impression, and first impressions count, his first impression is fluent English speaker. If you're going, and you're thinking about it for the 3 or 4 minutes, English not so good. That's the remark they're going to make on you, right? So you want to get the good remark. And once you get going, the other thing that's good for you is after 3 or 4 minutes, you're actually feeling more confident. Now you spoke for 3 or 4 minutes. You spoke fluently, without hesitation. Now when he asks you a next question, you're much more inclined to be able to answer the question easily and with some semblance of clarity. Smooth as silk. So we say in English, you can speak as smooth as silk. So in a job interview, this is, like I said, it's really good for you because you will come across as a really smooth speaker. And you can do more interviews now because you've had practice. And you should do more interviews. A lot of people, because they don't like interviews, they go to one interview and they say, I hope I get the job. Well, wouldn't it be better if you had 10 interviews and then you had 3 or 4 job offers and you could say, I want this one, I don't want this one? It's probably better for your life. So if you practice this, tell me about yourself speech, and you can do a 3 to 4 minute version, practice with your friends, practice during lunch hour, practice during the coffee break. It's a great thing to have friends, and this is where friends can be very helpful. They can listen, okay? So if you've got a good friend who will listen, practice with them. It's a 5-step process. 1, write out the answers, and there's 2 possible answers, a 2 to 3 minute version and a 3 to 4 minute version. And then read and record the answers. That's very important. Read and record the answers. And then make any changes for clarity. Okay? So again, you've listened to the recording as if you were a listener, not as if you were the writer or the speaker or yourself. You're trying to be objective, and you're listening for clarity and for understanding. Does what you say make sense? 4, practice speaking and not reading the answers. So you're trying to develop a speaker's voice instead of a reader's voice. And finally, memorize the answers. So again, you say, I don't like to memorize. I don't care if you don't like to memorize. You got to do it. If you want to sound fluent, this is how you do it. If you want to speak like a movie star or an actor, this is what they do. They memorize the script. They memorize their lines. That's why they sound so natural, because they've practiced. Okay? So this is the key to tell me about yourself. This is a very useful thing to know. Practice, recite, speak, memorize. Get it in here so that it's automatic. If it's automatic, you'll have an answer every time, and the answer will be fluent, and you'll get the job.